Hey everyone, going to be referencing an article. This one it's a new publication. I've never really dealt with this publication before. It's called Kamloops This Week. There's lots of media institutions and outlets that cover this particular story. Well, at least a few of them, right? And actually, it's shown here in the sub portion of the headline. It's just a reprint, basically, of the Canadian press. So this is what a lot of times what you get, right? Is the Canadian press or the Associated Press or Reuters does an investigative article or does some form of investigative journalism or covers a particular political or whatever the subject matter is, and then everyone else basically just copies and pastes the text of whoever that particular journalist is, and then they add their own opinion or perspective to it. That's basically what you're dealing with today, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. Comedian Mike Ward's case before a Supreme Court tests limits of artistic freedom. It's reported by Lena Dibb, Canadian Press, February 15th, 2021. So not sure if you folks have heard about this particular story or not, but this particular gentleman, this Mike Ward, he's a comedian. He's a comedian. I mean, come on. Comedians say all kinds of, things that are offensive, sensationalized, things that are meant to shock you, right? Third rail type topics that you would never be able to touch in most other environments. That's the beauty of comedy. And we all love comedy, right? And we know that, like I say, even with some of what some people say distasteful or, I don't know, dirty or low bar or low brow comedy. I mean, people have subjective opinions or perspective, but come on. When you're going out to watch comedy or a comedy routine, you know damn well you want that comedian up there to do exactly what they do, because you won't get that anywhere else in the rest of society for the most part, right? I mean, it's not like Mike Ward or any other comedian that I'm aware of, has a specific target that they use because they're so vengeful or hateful. No, they observe life, right? That's what a comedian does. They observe life. They find things that are ironic, contradictory, foolish, politically correct, all those things. And they break down all the barriers while giving us a good chuckle or laugh during that whole time or how that plays out. I mean, that's a good thing, right? That's a beautiful thing. I love comedy. And not just for that reason, but that's a really important reason. Because sometimes we need to hear these things in order to shake us out of our conformity or our closed minds. Ottawa, the Supreme Court of Canada heard an appeal Monday from comedian Mike Ward, who was found by a lower court to have discriminated against a disabled singer in one of his routines. Ward's lawyer told the 9 judges that Canadians don't have a right not to be offended, and making fun of someone doesn't take away their rights. Exactly. It's like, hello. I mean, no shit, Dick Tracy there, right? The lawyer for singer Jeremy Gabriel, who was awarded $35,000 by a rights tribunal, said Ward's joke went too far and had long-lasting consequences on the disabled man's life. The 9 justices took the case under deliberation at the end of the hearing. Lawyer Julius Gray argued Monday that his client's jokes about Gabriel, part of the comedian's routine between 2010 and 2013, targeted sacred cows in society as opposed to the singer's disability. There's no right not to be offended, Gray said. To insult someone doesn't deprive that person of a service or of a right. A 2016 Quebec Human Rights Tribunal ruling that ordered Ward to pay $35,000 in moral and punitive damages to Gabriel, who has Treacher-Collins syndrome, a congenital disorder characterized by skull and facial deformities. Gabriel became a celebrity in Quebec after he sang with Celine Dion and for the Pope. So that's another thing, actually, I wanted to make sure to emphasize, although it might actually be done so in this article. But this disabled person or whatever, it wasn't, the person is somewhat, he had celebrity status, so he was well known and making rounds. I mean, doing tours apparently or whatever with Celine Dion, the Pope. So obviously, right, Mike Ward was using the fact that this person had recognition, name recognition, right? Little bit of a celebrity in some ways. I mean, come on. How far is this society going to fall to the point where a joke elicits such a response and it has to be taken all the way to the Supreme Court to even hopefully get rectified? And yeah, I do hope, and I don't have a whole lot of trust or faith, for that matter, in the justices in the Supreme Court in Canada. But hey, I'm hoping, right, crossing my fingers, that they'll side with freedom of speech and overturn this ridiculous decision to take $35,000 from the man's income for doing nothing more than being a comedian and performing jokes. In his act, Ward joked that he had thought Gabriel's illness was terminal and people were only nice to him because he would soon die. Ward then joked that after he realized the child was not dying, he tried to drown him. The Quebec Court of Appeal ruled in a 2-1 decision in November 2019 that Ward's comments compromised the young performer's right to the safeguarding of his dignity and could not be justified even in a society where freedom of expression is valued. Like, holy shit, the Quebec Court of Appeal. I mean, this is what I'm saying, folks. You cannot rely on the justice system in this country anymore. Well, at least that portion of it in Quebec, right? We're holding our fingers here, or crossing our fingers here and holding out hope. But once again, and I'll definitely let you know the minute that decision is handed down. I guess they've got to think about it, right? Gray told the Supreme Court one could argue that Mike Ward provides equality for Jeremy Gabriel by treating him in the same way as other sacred cows. The comment drew a response from Justice Russell Brown. "Oh, come on," Brown said, interrupting Gray. "Don't go that far. We aren't talking about Galileo or Salman Rushdie here. He's no hero," he added, referring to Ward. I mean, listen to was this political activism on the bench? Well, that's the thing, the courts these days, and I've seen this shit play out. Total, like, unprofessionalism. I mean, just unbelievable. Like, what, you're going to offer up a bias or opinion while a court thing is playing out like that? Like, anyways, don't you want to reserve that for your judgment? Anyways, because none of that obviously has anything to do with the facts or merit of the case or as it pertains to freedom of speech. This is a judge interrupting a court proceeding to finger wag for someone daring to stand up for the freedoms. That's what that is. Justice Sheila Martin also reacted to Gray's comments, stating, "We're talking about somebody saying that they tried to drown a 13-year-old child that has a physical disability." Once again, unbelievable that anyone would even have to point this out as, "Oh, by the way, Your Honor, my client is a comedian. What you're referencing are jokes. Get a fucking grip, you uptight prick or cunt," whichever, male or female. I'm an equal opportunist in terms of insulting people who are this fucking insane. And with this much power, I'll add. Christopher Brett, a lawyer for the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, an intervener in the case arguing on the side of freedom of expression, told the court that a lot of comedy is in bad taste. Well, yeah, hello. I'm telling you, these people today, hey, don't ever show them some old Andrew Dice Clay comedy routine or something, because they might have a heart attack right then and there. Right? Jesus Christ, what's wrong with these people? Anyways, folks, I'll place a link to this article in the description of the video below, and I'll definitely be paying attention and waited with anxious and bated breath to find out how this actual court case plays out. And will these Supreme Court justices actually fall on the side of freedom of speech, something that is inherent and inalienable in terms of our rights and freedoms, or are they going to ignore all that and because of their feels destroy all of our abilities to speak freely or tell jokes because somebody's feelings got hurt? I don't know. Once again, I seem to be completely out in neither left or right field, like a center field somewhere, as opposed to the political ideologue these days. So I don't know how they're going to think or how this is going to play out. Like I say, I can only be hopeful and wish that these adults would start actually acting like adults once again. But once again, not holding my breath. If I did that, I might not be here to do the next video. Anyways, it's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.